Welcome back, everyone. It's good to be back on. Getting a video in before Christmas. We're going to do one for the new year as well. Probably just after Christmas will be the next one, in between Christmas and the new year. And so, obviously, as you could say, you know, it's passion driven by conflict. This is, again, another message from the feminine energy and what to watch out for these next couple of months. As we navigate through this process of transformation. Now, you can talk transformation, you know, in the here and now, but also this whole expansion of this feminine consciousness and awakening this next level of our awareness is really in full play now. And as I've said, you know, we're in the depth of the shadow now, these next couple of months. So it's really important to honor how you're feeling and not project it onto anyone. The message I'm going to read off, you know, brings us into that awareness a little bit more. But it's also very important to find your own story now. Not the one that's conditioned, not the one that you've made to believe is real, i.e. the personality, the ego consciousness. Because it's really coming not under attack is the wrong word, but it's coming under the spotlight at the moment to recognize what isn't working. And do I still listen to that voice, or do I actually take charge now and be inquisitive and say, you know what, this is leading me down the wrong pathway? And if you look at your life, you'll see the cyclical nature and you go, hang on, I'm still stuck. I was dealing with this 6 months, a year ago. And you'll find, but you need to set that intention, because you have those opportunities that everything will come in cyclical nature. So you have those opportunities to then let go of things again. But what's happening now, the thread of that depth of that deep shadow energy within our collective is really rising at the moment. And so it's so important that you detach yourself from the matrix, from the story, because everything, again, is being mirrored back to you. What you haven't learned, the synchronicity, you know, there's so many signs around us, and we really need to fine-tune listening. And, you know, again, the old saying, less is more at this time. And that journey inward is the real focus now, because it's the only way you're going to be congruent with the life force that's moving through you, the energy that's keeping your heart beating. There's so much energy going on at the subcellular level at the moment. Frequency changing, they're changing the atom, the cells, the brain is realigning itself. You know, people that are working on themselves are starting to let go of the conditioning, the deep conditioning. Some of it through our own story, obviously, losing our consciousness. That's why we're here, to regain it and find ourselves back. You know, we've touched the darkness, we're coming back to the light. But also the shadow components that have been placed around us by, shall we say, more shadow forces. But again, they are us and we are them. So it's us, again, it always comes back to us. We are the creator and the destroyer of our own life. No one can take away your pain except you, but you need to acknowledge that pain with love and gratitude, because only through the love and gratitude, those two frequencies of universal consciousness, can anything be transformed. You can't transform when you stay in a story, blaming, judging, being a victim, and you can't transform with anger or fear. There has to be a unique connection with yourself, where you can actually give yourself time to feel the truth of your energy. But the only way you're going to do that is journeying inwards, and like I said, just being very calm, being out in nature, you know, trying to take on too many other people's issues and stuff, and just try to detach as much as you can at the moment, especially these next 2 months. Really important, just to find that, you know, that space in you, so you can allow something to awaken and actually move around your auric field, so that you can actually start seeing it. Because we're so pinpoint, narrow-minded in our consciousness. Even when we say we're not, we are still conditioned in collective consciousness. And also, so many people are full of misinformation at the cellular level. So of course, we're bouncing off that information always. And it's very hard to navigate. And this is why, you know, we can have these great epiphanies, and it's like, you know, when you go on these retreats and, you know, you have those moments, but when you come back to your own life, it all sort of comes in again. We don't allow that out breath, that constant in and out breath. It's just everything becomes contracted. because of the narrative we're in, you know. And we have to be very clear of our energy field now, because there's so much energy coming up, and it's just almost like an avalanche. It's just pouring on us. And so we have to be strong, you know, in our conviction to hold our own space, you know. So again, as the message says, it's very, very easy, but we just need the intention to place it, because there's so much support around us at the moment. So I'm going to read off the message anyway. So I've just put it, passion driven by conflict. So acting without grounding yourself will yield little progress, especially as the feminine energy rises and rebalances. You are too drained to afford mistakes. Too much energy has been wasted walking paths that lead nowhere. Attempting to fix problems without understanding their root will only deepen your frustration and fatigue. By separating emotions from the narrative, you'll uncover the deeper lesson within. It's time to recognize the mirror world you inhabit. Deceiving others, and more importantly yourself, will start to feel increasingly uncomfortable. The feminine energy no longer tolerates falsehoods. Instead of clinging to untruths, open yourself to the vastness and unconditional love this frequency now offers. True passion must be fueled by truth, and truth can only be found by turning inward. We understand that the idea of introspection can be daunting. However, the energy now surrounding the earth provides a lighter, more inviting space for healing. In the past, the denser energies of the planet made self-inquiry harder, but transformation has become more accessible as we align with this new frequency. Excitement rather than pain is now the guide to awakening your true self. Far too many live with passions rooted in conflict, mistrust, anger, and pain. Yet the need to use suffering as a driving force is no longer necessary. The current energy invites you to surrender to the unconditional love of your soul, the divine feminine. Through this surrender, truth, calm, and peace will emerge naturally, and life will flow without the searching, striving, and struggling ingrained in you. You are too tired, deeply tired of misinformation, of lies, of repeating the same patterns lifetime after lifetime. But this cycle of living need not persist. The choice is yours to break free. When conflict arises, be it with your partner, friends, colleagues, or strangers, pause and ask, why is this happening? These conflicts are mirrors, reflecting lessons you need to learn and release. The ego resists clinging to its programming, as it doesn't yet understand the soul's love and universal consciousness. Trying to surpass the ego or bypass it will only prolong your suffering. True awakening requires grounding and aligning with your soul. So the old analogy is, we can't get rid of the ego. We must understand its place, and the ego is also there as a defense mechanism, but it needs to take a back seat now. Our mind's gift is the imagination. It is the most powerful tool we have, and it is our, access into the unconscious. It's very, very important that, we find that truth, with the ego consciousness. So on a cellular level, immense work is underway to align the geometric patterns of the human body, because our body is built on geometric form, so that a healthy foundation is essential for all transformation. So ask yourself, what drives me? Is it fear, pain, or societal expectations? Or are you consciously living your soul's purpose? This month, focus on meditating with your base chakra. Set the intention to release the stress and anxiety that has accumulated there. As you clear these energies, surrender to your soul, allowing serenity and calm to infuse your passion. This process is unique to each individual, but it requires attentiveness to the signs, intuition, and synchronicities that guide you. Avoid rigid 5 to 10 year plans. While planning is natural, remain fluid and present. The soul can shift direction in an instant, and you must be attuned to its guidance. Listening to your conditioned mind rather than your soul keeps you stuck in the wrong jobs, relationships, and perpetual conflict. In the coming months, heightened conflict may arise as the shadow energies surface collectively. Frustration and anger will flare as people struggle to process their emotions, often lashing out. Recognize this pattern in yourself and others. Step back from conflict and reflect on what it mirrors within you. By doing so, you find clarity. If you feel heightened loneliness, worry, or fear, know that these are signs of your earth chakra awakening and parallel lifetimes merging. Acknowledge these emotions with love and breathe into them. Outward success may temporarily distract, but it will also reflect something missing within you. When this happens, honor those feelings and journey inward. Next year, the intensity of the mirror will increase, so approach it with diligence and awareness. Remember, you are both the creator and the destroyer of your life. By transforming your emotional body and releasing repressed trauma, the next stage of your life will unfold naturally. The universal law is now in effect. You are brave spiritual warriors, and it's time to consciously remember this truth. So, yeah, all good. So it's really about, finding that process within yourself, because ultimately, as this shift in what we're going through now, it's going to bring up a lot of physical pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of stress and anxiety. There's so much anxiety. Everyone's really anxious at the moment. And they've got physical pain. So many people are hearing come back from the doctor as well. They're not getting the answers because obviously these pains are rooted in energy. They're rooted in emotional, mental conflict. So you won't get a CAT scan, or the physical body looks okay because it's not coming through the physicality, the 3D network. These energies are parallel to us, to our consciousness. And so there's a lot of things that are changing. So we'll keep updated with this. Obviously, we'll put another video through just after Christmas, set up for the new year. And there'll probably be some other shifts going on within the next week or so. Mainly topically, there'll be a lot of skin stuff coming up as well, and people getting headaches. Because what's happening is frequency's trying to move into the clogged emotional body. And so it's getting stuck, it's hitting these like rocks. And so it sort of splays everywhere. And then it'll sort of go out on the skin or come out on the headache. You may get drowsiness too. It's a subjective, but ultimately that energy needs to go somewhere. And this is the problem with heart attacks. Most people are living in their base chakra, which is the survival servitude. So when consciousness tries to move through the body, because it has to ground, it has to go through your feet into the earth, what it does is it bounces off the base chakra and it goes up to the heart. And then the heart just explodes. And this is why so many people are having strokes and heart attacks at the moment, because the base chakra is so contracted. That energy needs to go somewhere. And like I said, this is why so many times I've heard people, 40, 50-year-old, fit as hell, just drop dead instantly. And that's because of that consciousness. It's because that energy is just bounced and just is so strong that it can explode the heart. And, it's huge at the moment. We don't hear about it a lot, obviously, because I'm in this field, so I do a lot of healing work. So, you get a bit more information about what's going on, and collectively we look into it psychically as well, and you can pick up what's going on. And you're like, no, it's the problem with mental illness now, because people are so suppressed emotionally. That body is shut down, the emotional body is shut down. So the energy needs to go somewhere, so it moves into the mental body. And that's really bad, because ultimately that's why mental illness can be so devastating, especially, Alzheimer's and things like that, where you've got no consciousness of people around you. But that is complete denial of the emotional body. And so a lot of these things are on the rise. And it's going to be quite intense, you know, and there's going to be a lot of people passing over in the next year because they refuse to listen, you know, internally. You can't look outwardly anymore. The universe doesn't support that narrative. And you can see it everywhere. Everyone's in stress, you know, everyone's striving, you know, everyone's like, what the hell's going on, you know, and they're really trying to find truth in why they're here, in purpose. No, most people don't even understand their purpose, even what keeps their heart beating. People don't ask the questions, you know. So you've got to be inquisitive. So, you know, if you get a pain in your shoulder, instead of taking a paracetamol or running to the doctor, just meditate on it, breathe into it, say, hey, what's going on here? And you've got to listen to the signs of synchronicity. What people don't realize is this is an illusion here. This is the matrix. It's not real. You know, this is not home. Home is the non-physical. Yeah, we travel when we're asleep. We can do it through astral projection, all these other things, but ultimately, this is the illusion. So we have to understand that we are already powerful, we're already ascended, we're already light beings, we're already conscious. We just have a veil over that, the conditioning. So if you remove the conditioning, you will awaken. So you don't actually have to go anywhere. You know, all these people doing ayahuasca and running, that's great, and all the rest of it, that's fantastic. But if you don't need to travel anywhere, you know, so many people go to India and China and other places and these sacred sites. That's great if you're called to it, but ultimately self-inquiry now, you can sit at home and do it yourself because the planet is in such chaos. Things are being made easy for us at the moment, but we have to turn inward and listen. Anyway, I'll send another video. I haven't talked about this for ages, but so yeah, probably do one around just before New Year's Eve. All right, guys, I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.